In this room, we want to know, Laura and I want to know, how many of you are football fans?
Woo! 49ers? 49ers.
Not this year.
Come on.
And I think we should ask them this as well. How many of you in this room have attended South by Southwest?
Of course.
Yeah? Okay, so there's,
Knowing this audience makes sense.
and I will tie this together, I promise. But Visa actually has been doing some really cool, very unique things, both with the NFL, which we have talked about what you did with Drew Brees and also Odell Beckham.
Yep.
And the Visa, the mobile pay. And also this year, this was hard for me to believe. It was your first year, Visa's first year at South by Southwest.
Yeah, no, I know. So South by Southwest, I think it's a good just opening to talk about how important social and digital is to Visa, and the fact that we more and more are using event marketing to get content that we can amplify out socially. And then when you think through that, you can't just have boring content. So you
Please
take
don't.
you take great assets and great partnerships that you have, and you use those. So for example, we do have a great partnership with the NFL, and one of the things that we wanted to stand up at South by Southwest, being we really are a technology company and people don't think of us that way, was some of our new payment technology, including Visa Checkout, which is our easy new way to pay online in a couple of clicks. And we did bring football giants like Larry Fitzgerald and Drew Brees and Colin Kaepernick, sorry, 49er. But having them talk about those new technologies, and then in a place like South by, which is great for that, and making sure that we amplify them out socially.
Which is what we've been talking about, is the relevant message, the relevant message. And what's unique about Visa is that Visa is not only B2B, but also a B2C company. So with that particular, challenge, but you're working with companies to not only help them with that customer journey and to impact the customer experience, but on the flip side, you're actually impacting the exposure of a company's product to the customer, to the consumer themselves.
That's right.
And you did a blowout with that Williams-Sonoma. It was amazing. Can you tell us more about what you did in your partnership with them?
Yeah, sure. So as much as we can, we use new platforms because we believe the medium is as important as the message in showing your innovation. And so if we have a Facebook or a Google or Pinterest come to us with a new platform, we're eager to try it. In this case with Williams-Sonoma, YouTube had a new video format that allowed you to interact with the video. And so we did a shoppable video with Williams-Sonoma. There might be Williams-Sonoma people out here, but great partner of ours, and they were willing to take a risk trying a new platform that worked fantastically, where we did a digital film where you saw people entertaining during the summer using Williams-Sonoma products to entertain. And while you saw that on the video, a dynamic rendering came up and you could click and right away go to williamssonoma.com and buy quickly using visacheckout.com, quickly and safely. And what that was commerce and entertainment coming together in a seamless, innovative way.
And such a stick rate, too, because they're going directly to the site.
Absolutely.
Versus getting
You're
lost.
Removing clicks.
Right.
Exactly.
So I brought some fun stats, because actually Laura and I like to have fun, right? So I don't know if you know this, but first of all, how many of you today took your cell phone with you to the bathroom? By a show of hands, please.
Okay, admit it. Self-reported.
Yes, it's self-reported. So did you know that 75% of mobile users admitted to, so we know it's higher, right? Admitted to taking their cell phone to the bathroom with them. Also, 40% of shoppers consult 3 or more channels on their phone, right? And shopping, while they're shopping, they consult 3 or more channels before making a purchase decision. So this is tweetable, isn't it? 40%? Yeah. Well, another tweetable, 70% of mobile searches lead to online conversion. That's pretty huge.
Yeah.
So the reason these stats
Yeah.
were significant to me is that when I think of Visa
Yeah.
and mobile, it's like, oh, you guys have just done amazing things with mobile, but you've gone beyond that. I want you to tell us about what you're doing with video.
Yeah, I'm going to take some of your stats and add on to them, actually. So what you're saying, IBM did a terrific study, and what they saw last holiday season, which I think American Eagle was probably just talking about this, was, holidays, the end-all be-all. But what we're seeing is more and more shopping and browsing going to mobile. 44%, I think, last holiday was the browsing happening mobile. And then what we see then through this IBM study was, of that 44%, 22% are actually buying, okay? And then of the 22%, 13% of that buying is on tablet and 9% is on mobile. And so what happens is the form factor gets smaller, filling out 44 form fields of a purchase, finaling the purchase is not okay. And so, we have products like Visa Checkout that bridge that, make that a seamless experience. And so as the consumer uses Visa Checkout and other offerings, you're going to completely make a friction-free experience, which is going to allow this to be a primary buying device. With that said, so just
video,
more stats, the video.
right?
So we do video. We have learned by being in social digital, a first mover, being in the space a long time, that it is incredibly effective because of the visual nature and how you have to break through on this when consumers are getting 29,000 messages a day.
Wait, now is that an actual stat we can tweet?
Yeah, so there's a study done
29,000
recently
messages.
that given technology and people carrying this, which is really a multimedia device, consumers are now getting on average 29,000 marketing messages a day. So to connect, you have to be visually compelling. You have to draw them in. So video we use quite a bit. Anything visual, so Pinterest came to us with something called cinematic posts, which are dynamic posts that move as you move the mobile device. Great partner in Gymboree. We have a partner that accepts Visa Checkout, and we used cinematic posts where you could move the phone and you could see an outfit dynamically creating, a top with new bottoms and so forth for kids. And the engagement on that was fantastic. We had moms pinning, buying right away, Visa Checkout on Gymboree.com. And, so I think the lesson there is grab them, be visually compelling, be animated.
And on top of that, you not only hit them visually, but you hit them kinesthetically.
That's right.
And so when you pair sensory information that way, you are actually stimulating an action, which is pretty brilliant.
Exactly, and you're taking an inherent movement, something consumers don't even think about, and running with that. Like when at Visa, we talk a lot about the fact that when you're walking down the street and you're walking in a store, you're not walking around with your wallet. Hey, I'm ready to pay. You're walking with your mobile device. So let's make sure you have Android Pay or Samsung Pay or Apple Pay that you can be powered by Visa and use that seamlessly.
And then that tags on to, we have to talk about this, right? And you ready for the word? Millennials, right? And the crowd goes wild. We have to talk about the millennials.
Marketing and millennials.
I know you and I have talked a lot about what you're doing at Visa with respect to marketing to this specific demographic. And let's call it the younger set, because now we're even looking at beyond the millennial, right? So the younger set, they're growing up and they're having a different experience. And part of what they're wanting is true connection. We've talked about how they desire personalization. But on top of all of that with this particular demographic is there's also this level of conscious business, right? They want to feel that the business is also connected to their values and purpose. So what is Visa doing with respect to the newer generations coming up?
Yeah, so millennials, if I had $1 for every time that comes at a conference, I mean, I'd share it with you. We'd all be rich. We wouldn't be sitting here. But it is such an important audience, and I hate to call it a segment. It's massive. There are 80 million of them.
80 million millennials?
So 80 million millennials approximately in the United States. They have 200 billion in annual buying power.
200 billion.
200 billion in annual buying power. They spend approximately $2,000 a year online buying.
And when you tweet, it's at Lara, Lara. Your middle initial, right?
These are very tweetable. Yeah, but so if you're in any business, this is an important audience, and that $2,000 that they spend a year, that's more than any other age cohort, even those who are older and have more income. So we've got to connect with them. 83% of them have a mobile device, a smartphone, or claim to have a smartphone, and 66% of them will tell you they care about interacting with brands socially. And so they're an incredibly important audience, and we should all be taking stock. And they don't. They'll shut down if they don't think your message is authentic.
Absolutely. I just think those stats are pretty phenomenal. What really blew me away was the fact that the annual spend is $2,000 online, but yet the baby boomers and Gen Xers aren't even spending near that much, which was surprising to me.
Yeah.
That those folks aren't spending more online.
Yeah, and it's that they grew up with this device, practically in their hand from day one.
I wanted to ask you, because we're all going to get to experience Facebook toward the end of the day, and I know that you are involved in a campaign with Facebook, and I'm interested in that campaign because you've had to look at multiple demographics, and can you explain to us a little bit about what you're engaged with respect to Facebook?
Sure. So, what I love about Facebook in particular is you can get so one-to-one, and they've done great work with their technology to allow you to do that. We do personalization, we do customization, we do a ton of test and learn. I think a great example of where we've taken a broad insight but then broken it down and customized even more is we have a great partner in Fandango. Does anybody use Fandango to buy movie tickets?
Movie ticket.
Okay, so maybe you fit one of these targets or not, but Fandango, we have Visa checkout on Fandango. We had a promotion where you could buy a movie ticket, get one free, and if you use Visa checkout, what was compelling is we looked at this consumer and noted that for the most part, they're on their smartphone, they're texting all the time. But that's broad, and they have a broad consumer base. So digging into it deeper and understanding who we could target on Facebook, we found, there's single women who are on, like Fandango on Facebook, and they often are getting a text from somebody they went on a date with, and you know what? They actually don't want another date with that person. And so we built a film that allowed a consumer to see that they could get out of that date. The text came in, they could get out of that date by quickly buying movie tickets with Visa checkout and being able to quickly get that and say, no, I can't go because I have movie tickets.
I've got plans.
Yeah, and the thing is, this has happened. We talked to consumers about this, but we did. So that was very targeted to a certain select segment. But we did the same for dudes, a segment.
So what did you do for the gentlemen?
Well,
I'm curious to know. Aren't you guys?
How many of you have had a friend take a picture of a rash and send it to you, or seen those online? Like, what is this?
What am I, a dermatologist?
Yes. So we've talked to all different groups of consumers, and we learned that, we were inspired by one story of a guy saying, my friend texted me a rash on my arm and wanted me to diagnose it. So that was another story of where the guy was able to say, hey, no, I have movie tickets, bought them on Visa checkout. I'm not coming over to diagnose your rash.
Good
and
excuse.
This is, spawned by, there's a lot of medical websites and things of this nature, but the inspiration was we could get laser focused on these sub-segments and create content. May not be as funny to us in this room, but it was compelling and resonated with these consumers.
I thought it was funny. Doesn't anybody here think it was funny?
It's okay.
I thought it was very funny. Well, another thing I wanted to ask you is, does Visa actually use agencies?
Yeah, so we do. We have terrific agencies, OMD for media buying, BBDO, MRY, Fleischman, IMG, a great cast of agencies that we use ongoing. And then we aren't afraid to bring in specialty agencies, but importantly, we get some of our best work and best ideas from our employees. And one of the things that we found in doing that is as we use our employee ideas, they get incredibly excited and then become ambassadors for the brand. And when it's said a lot, but it's incredibly true that when you have your own employees feeling good about your brand and talking about it, they're really your best marketers.
Oh, it increases their level of engagement and
Absolutely.
I'm sure productivity as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So before our time runs out, I wanted to ask you, what's new? What's on the horizon for Visa? We'd like to know a little bit more about, do you have anything you can share with us?
Yeah, so I think, exciting world of payments, our entire industry is being disrupted, and it's more important than ever that we're relevant and bringing new products to the marketplace and using our assets to do that. So we do have NFL season around the corner, and I think you'll see us standing up some of our clients and standing up our new product offerings through NFL. And then we also have the Olympics. And one of the exciting things about the Olympics this year is, or this next summer, is that it's in Rio. And that is in a time zone that works with people who live in the US. So often, Sochi is an example, that's happening at night. You wake up the next morning and you're checking who did well. The great thing we know about live sports, and this will truly be live, is it's a place where consumers are actively engaging in television, in this case network television. So we're very fortunate to have those live television sport connection points that get a lot of traction.
The relevance again.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions for Lara? And I'm blinded by the light, so I cannot see. Does anybody have questions for Lara?
Gosh, do people need coffee?
No, maybe they need wine. Yes.
What's involved in frictionless payments, and how long before it's truly frictionless?
Yeah, I think frictionless, think about anything that takes out steps or added friction. And increasingly we're seeing that. So online, like I said, you have 44 payment fields on average that you're filling out today. Offering like Visa Checkout, you're basically 2 clicks and you're done, right? Then as we go to m-commerce, which is done at the point of sale, and that gets more point of sale retail establishments, that is as easy as holding your mobile device up with near field communications. And if you have an iPhone 6 or a Samsung device and so forth, you're putting your thumb over for biometric reasons to authenticate, and you're making that purchase. And that's what friction-free shopping is. And the great news about it is it's still safe, which is really key when it comes to payments. That's cost of entry to the category.
How long before we have it?
It exists today.
Before it's
Yeah, it exists today. So what you'll see is if you go in the Walgreens down the street, if you go into Pete's Coffee down the street, you'll see it. So it exists today. And I think even the gentleman from American Eagle was talking about how this, the swipe of the credit card, it's as easy as that. And as retailers like American Eagle see that, they're increasingly upgrading their point of sale systems because it engages throughput, and you're also connecting to a broader payment ecosystem, which pays off an omni-commerce experience.
And I think you had a question here, this gentleman up front.
Hi, I'm Samir. Thanks for the great talk today. I had a question around, you spoke about disruption in the payments industry.
Yep.
Could you talk a little bit more broadly, macro, on
Sure.
what disruptions you see and what kind of companies?
Yeah. So, even 6 years ago, we would be sitting here and we would be talking about payments, and I'd talk about traditional competitors and cash being a traditional competitor. And cash still is the #1 competitor, if you will. But, what we see is companies that we partner with getting into payments, Facebook, Twitter, Google. And then you see payment companies that aren't necessarily deemed as a company, but organizations like Bitcoin and Venmo and so forth entering into this space. And I think there's always an inclination to think, oh no, this is our territory. But the reality is it only raises the bar higher and only gets the marketplace more adjusted to new, better, easier, safer ways to pay. And so that's what I mean when I talk about disruption.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Laura, thank you so much, Lara Balazs, for coming and sharing with us today. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks. Thanks, everyone.